Right on the money.
Straight up.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order at 12 o'clock. And let's go through the Pledge of Allegiance first and then do the roll call. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Could we have a roll call, please, Clerk Pern?
Yes, sir. Treasurer Hutt.
Here.
Supervisor Bertrand.
Here.
Trustee Detmer.
Here.
Clerk Pern here. And Trustee Monet excused.
Okay, briefly, the purpose of this meeting is a discussion on Township Board full-time fire chief position expectations and potential wage benefit offered for a full-time fire chief hire in Lyon Township. Certainly, we're starting with the generalities here. Second statement, to make sure that everybody understands that this special meeting, there is no intention to review current applicant resumes. The meeting purpose is to outline what additional information is needed, meaning us asking the applicants, and what the Township Board could potentially offer for compensation. That is the purpose. Kind of wide open here. Would somebody like to start with board comments? And we can go from there and see what people think.
I guess we start with board comments. I'd like to tell the audience, as well as all of you, we just had an additional one today, or additional resume came in. We have 5 candidates for the chief's job. Doug Bourgeois from Beaver Creek, Jim Ewell, Stephen Fay from Lyon, Alan Baudet from, is it Baudet or Baudet? Baudet, okay, from Lyon, and Matt Zebski, is that close enough? And Matthew.
Close enough for me. I'm not going to try it.
Zrebski. Okay. So those are the 5 candidates we have, and we can start talking anywhere you want, but I'll let other people go. I just want to let you know what we had to deal with right now, and I think we are kind of wide open. We're talking about money. We're talking about overseeing not only the entire fire department, but the EMS as well, and training and recruiting. It's all part of the whole program. So I guess we can go on. I'll pass the torch. You got something right now, Treasurer?
Well, before the treasurer, I have some correspondence back and forth with the attorney in reference to this meeting. Let me get my head around this again. We can certainly talk in generalities. We can talk more than that, but we do not have to put a closure date on the application period. So if we decide today that this is it and this is our candidates, we could do that. So having said that, what else we got?
I would think we had it for 2 weeks, right, in the paper, so I would think we're done accepting, since we're at the 2-week period.
Well, let's see, the 2 weeks we're in, the last 2 weeks, so that if this week goes to the end, I would say it would probably be a Thursday, so that would be tomorrow. Close it tomorrow.
So 1 more day.
Would that be all right with the rest of you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I can make a motion that we close the applicant period tomorrow. What's the date for it?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor of closing the applicant period tomorrow, which is 6/4/26, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Okay, that motion carries. As far as comments, there's a couple of things. Obviously, we're all involved in this. I'm a little behind because of other stuff I've been doing. I want to make a suggestion and we can talk about it. I want to make sure that we have from all of the applicants in writing what their plan is to revitalize and get our fire department back into a condition that is more acceptable to the public. We hear a lot of complaints, but basically I want it in writing. I do not want to get into an interview process and have somebody explaining to me what they'll do. We can certainly ask questions, but I'd like it in writing. Now, if I'm not, you probably know this because you're looking at them. I think 2 of them already have it in it as far as a plan for what they would do if they were hired by this township.
I think you could say 3 now.
Okay, 3.
Uh-huh.
One of the things I'd like to do at the end of today is send a letter to any candidate that we have not officially got something in writing about what they would do.
I'd like to amend that a little and say send it to all of them.
We could certainly do that. That's one concern of mine is I do not want to be sitting in an interview process without something in writing in my hands from each of them or from whoever the selected candidates are. I'd like to ask for that in writing. The other thing being, I'd like a letter of recommendation from their previous 2 bosses. Anybody can dream up a letter of recommendation. I'm really, as far as questions I would be asking, I want to know what their previous bosses thought of their work performance. So to me, and maybe there's more, but today I'd like to say, send a letter asking for the last 2 bosses, not somebody you pick, the last 2, and a thorough explanation, if they didn't already give it, of what they would do for this fire department to rebuild it. Only a suggestion at this point. That's kind of where I'm at as far as the application and the information that we would be trying to gather. Anybody else got any ideas, in regards to that stuff before we get into wages and things like that? Okay, well, for the sake of moving along, I'm going to make a motion that we ask the applicants for a in-depth explanation in writing of what they would do to rebuild the Lyon Township Fire Department and letters from their last 2 previous employers, recommendation letters from their last 2 previous employers. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion then from the board?
The thing I say is, I've been around a long time. Sometimes you got a boss that's just an ignorant jerk and he doesn't get along with anybody. So you could end up with a bad recommendation and you're really not a bad person. So that's just my 2 cents.
I also think if they give you references, why don't we just contact them ourselves with our references? And then, I don't know, necessarily has to be the last 2, but we could call them ourselves and say, hey, how was this guy? I don't necessarily need the last 2, but because like Steve says, what if you didn't get along, but you did everything you're supposed to do and he gives you a bad recommendation? That's not.
Well, certainly valid points. The questions that I would ask in an actual interview process are going to be regulated to try and determine how they reacted in certain situations. And there would be, I'm sure, some situations where you didn't get along with them. we as a board don't always get along, but that doesn't mean you can't work together. I would like to hear from the two most recent, if we get letters of recommendation. I've turned in applications where I've had 11 different places I worked. I certainly picked through what recommendations I wanted to send. I'd like to avoid that and know what happened, but that's my opinion, and we can certainly do a motion one way, and if it fails, do a motion a different way.
Discussion still open.
Yeah. Are you here for the Red Hats? It got pushed back till 2 o'clock, and unfortunately, I guess you didn't get notified. It's not. No, you're fine. You can actually stay if you'd like. Oh. Oh, well, the library is open. You can talk with Lori.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate what you do. Any other discussion on the generalities?
I will
of
just
that?
say, though, that I guess I do understand where Steve and Kevin are coming from. I had a pretty long career, but there were certainly bosses I didn't get along with, and they made their expressions on me when I came up for the next promotion. And lo and behold, I didn't get any bad ones. I was really shocked, but we did not get along. But apparently they saw, okay, he does his job. That's what we'll say. And
That's what you could assume, that if they figured out how to function and be efficient in a situation that was not necessarily the best of friends,
Yes.
I'm interested.
Yes.
I want to know how you did that.
mhm. Well, so I
But
see
that's me.
their point, but it could be that of their last two bosses, maybe one of them couldn't stand them. Maybe that was one of the reasons that they moved on to another thing. I'm just trying to look at both sides of this story. Maybe two is not good enough, but,
Well, I guess it could easily change to at least 2. You know, if somebody wants to send more, if they haven't already.
I have to think about that, or at least 2. Yeah, it wouldn't have to be the last 2. Yes, I like that.
And then in their work record, I agree with you there, their work record should reflect other people that we maybe don't get a letter from if we want to call them. My background is working with a group of 30 people that every week we had to discuss 25 to 30 issues, 10 minutes each, make a decision and back each other. And you don't have time for, I don't necessarily like you. Any other discussion from the board? And I'll try and move this along. Okay, well, I'll break it into 2 motions. How about, I'll make a motion that we ask the applicants to send us, if they haven't sent it already, their plan for how to rebuild the Lyon Township Fire Department. Just that. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, so any discussion from the board then on that motion to have the applicants submit a 3-year, or not a 3-year, a plan that they have to rebuild the Lyon Township Fire Department?
When you say rebuild,
Yeah, it's poor choice of words.
yeah, I would say,
Maybe revamp?
How about take
How about plan for the future?
the lead? How about that? Plan for the future?
reinvent.
That's one step short of a order. I can live with, take the lead going forward in the Lyon Township Fire Department. If nobody else likes that, we can try something different.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Okay, then I'll modify the motion that, I'd make a motion that we ask the applicants to submit a plan on how they would, if they haven't already, how they would take the lead in Lyon Township Fire Department.
Second.
Okay, so we got a second.
Mhm.
Any further discussion on that from the board? Okay, hearing none. On that modified motion as stated, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. That motion carries. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Move right into a third motion then that, make a motion that we request of the applicants at least 2 letters of recommendation from previous bosses. Is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay. Second, is there any further discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none. On that motion as stated, for at least 2 letters from previous bosses, all those who are in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And oppose the same. And that motion carries. Okay. That's all I had at this point in time as far as where we're going for maybe needing more information on that. Anybody else got anything they want to say, have at it, and then we can probably drift into potential wage or benefit combinations that are possible. Guys, I'm very talkative today.
Are we opening up wage possibilities? Not yet. Okay.
Trying to just separate it.
Yeah.
If there's anything else we need, I tried to state this, maybe I'll just say it again. Purpose of the meeting is to outline what additional information is needed. So if we believe we are done talking about what additional information is needed in regards to the applicant, I'm okay with that. We can then move into wage and stuff as far as what we think about that.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Okay. So, potential wage and benefit packages that could be offered. There's a lot of room here. If somebody wants to speak first before I do, go right ahead. There's certainly, we all have opinions, and so let's hear it.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
So we're going to determine the wage today on somebody we haven't hired? Is that what I'm?
No, my intent, and maybe the language isn't clear, is to discuss as a township, we have a general idea of what we can potentially offer. I throw some numbers out there. I really don't want to right now, but I don't want to go into the interview process without having an understanding as a board of what you could be construed as being our ceiling, or what combination of benefits and money.
So our current rate for a fire chief is, do we have that? Is that
Well, full paid fire chief would be 24,000.
24,000?
Right.
So I guess we would start there, right?
But I don't know that that was a full-time fire chief.
Right. So I'm just, for now, this is what's on the books.
Yes.
Okay, let's keep it up here for now. We are, in my opinion is, we are trying to get somebody to come in here who's highly qualified and lead this board, or this, this fire department. The wage that we were previously using and considering is not a big concern of mine. When we look at the applicants, and I've said this before, we get the right applicant with the right applications, I have no problem offering them a real good package to come in here and lead the way long after I'm dead and gone. That for the benefit of the township, if you compare that with what other townships do and what they pay, you can get yourself in a ballpark. You can also look at other small townships and what they pay. Number-wise, I think the average in a small township is somewhere in the $75,000 to $85,000 range. Do I think we should do that? No. At the same time, and I was talking with Greg about this, I think we have a pretty good idea of what the Garrish Township fire chief makes, but we don't know if that's a combo of money and benefit package. I do know that our benefit package, if we were to offer that to the full-time fire chief, is pushing somewhere around $18,000 that the township would pay for their health insurance and a retirement stipend. So in my mind, I'm looking at trying to offer something that is a certain amount of cash and a benefit package, with that being an estimate of what that's worth. But that has to be tailored with who the candidate is. I would not be inclined to offer maximum money to somebody to come in who is not necessarily qualified in all the areas we'd like as a starting point. So this is a big discussion. Let's hear it from you guys.
You also have to factor in the hours. That's, I
Yeah.
mean,
And we're a lot smaller than,
you can't just come up with an arbitrary number and without knowing, are they going to be required to work 25 hours, 30 hours, what?
You're absolutely right. According to our attorney, we should not do an hourly wage, we should do a salary. And he didn't put a number on it, but I've already seen one of the applicants is offering this as a plan for, I would work 40 hours a week. There's a lot of pitfalls trying to not do a salary and have somebody working a lot of crazy hours at different times.
I'm good with a salary. There's no.
Yeah, I think salary is the way to go. I guess what I'm trying to say
40
is,
hours though, I don't know about that. That seems,
I
that
don't
seems
think
like a lot.
so.
we're a lot smaller than Garrish too.
it depends on what they say they will do within their plan to lead the Lyon Township Fire Department as to how many hours we could land on. Again, it's always going to have in my mind, a variation on who is this person, how qualified are they, and then how much money.
That's why what Kevin said in the beginning is you can't really come up with a wage package benefit until you know who the person is, what their experience is, and how many hours they're going to be working.
You are absolutely right. I'm trying to figure out parameters, top end and bottom. Let's say we get a super qualified person who wants $90,000 a year and they want cash because they already have a benefit package. Are we going to do that? I doubt it. That's a lot of money. If we have somebody who comes in and says, I really want the benefits, I'd like the benefit package, that way I can pay for the rest of my family at a group rate, and therefore I'll take less cash, as long as you give me the benefit package. That's a possibility. I'm just trying to figure out the extremes. I think extreme-wise that what we paid before is not enough money, not even close. Does that mean that we end up going way above and beyond? Not in my mind. You're right. I think it depends on who the person is.
So I think this discussion really is sort of a waste of time because we've got so many unanswered questions, and just throwing balloons up in the air is not going to make any sense to me.
Well, I can make motions and we can vote. I think that one of the things we would have to decide as a board is a bottom line. And to me, the bottom line is combination wage and benefit package.
Do you have any examples of townships that are our size and what they're paying their people?
Yeah, $85,000. I don't think we're doing that.
townships our size?
Our size. Well, this is, if you move downstate, again, things change. What they're used to making. I think for, I don't want to throw her under the bus. I think Christie makes 65, 70.
65.
Yeah. But does that include the benefits or not? I don't
I
know.
mean, I think before we even get into money, we need to get the hours straightened out first.
I-
That's what we need to
I'm
do,
gonna-
because
I'm
the
gonna
money
make-
is gonna be based on the hours. I mean,
I'm
you're not
gonna,
gonna pay somebody $30,000 to work 40 hours a week. I mean, that's absurd.
no,
And that's the hours when people submit their plans on how they're going to make the fire department work. They're going to say, this is my plan and I
Yep.
think I can do it with 35 hours a week or 30 hours a week or 40 hours a week. So when you start looking at that, then it gives you something to work with.
Yeah, you're right.
you
These
were
are,
talking about a bottom line. I think I would like to start at a bottom line of $35,000 for 30 hours. Not 40, but 30. And then the benefit package would be on there and offer a 3-month probation to see if everything's good and then jack that up a little more if it proves to be going in the right direction and.
are you talking 35 includes the benefit
No,
package?
no,
Yeah, not included.
no,
Okay.
no, not including the
At
benefit.
35 with the additional 18 or so, that's putting it in the
Yeah,
ballpark, similar to Garrett.
50-some thousand, I know,
It's a lot of money, but we got a lot of things that need to get resolved.
How many hours?
30?
If you start looking at a salary, then to me, we should ask for the most hours we can get out of it, but we're already being encouraged not to track hours. This is a job. If they say they'll put X amount of hours, as Steve said, that they would put into a plan, great.
Well, if he can do, if it's the 35, and I say he because there was no female applicant so far, so it's going to be a he, the 30 hours seems like a pretty good base. If he can do it in 28, great. If it takes him 32, great. It's still the same 35,000 for a certain period of time, just to see how things are working out. Maybe it won't work out. Maybe he'll see, hey, there's too much work. I can't do it for this or something like that. It's a possibility. But we need something to open with, to have the letters to the applicants and then come back with their ideas. But I think the benefit package, yes, yeah, we're into some money there.
As well, we should be.
Hmm?
I'm okay with 35 plus benefits as where we may be, and again, this is what are we willing to do for the right person? And maybe we're not willing, maybe we don't get the right person, you know. But I think that's something I could live with. It's comparable. It is not the high end of this wage for a full-time fire chief. And we got to start somewhere.
That's the way I was looking at it. We got to start somewhere.
Okay, so that was, you said 30 or 35 hours?
35, 30 hours.
Oh,
35.
okay, 35 for 30. 35 plus benefits, okay. 30 hours. So that's one possibility. Anybody looking at anything else? Because we can always do these. They're not binding motions. We can make a motion that this is how we would proceed. It doesn't mean we have to. On the other end of that spectrum, 35, 15. I also think there might be a need for saying that 55 plus benefits is a ceiling for 30 hours. Meaning that we could get somebody comes in here with bells and whistles and got it all. I don't want to actually go over what Garrish Township is currently paying, as an example.
I don't either, because we're not Garish.
No, we are
Stick to
not.
Lyon.
So so in a neighboring township, X amount of money. And I don't know that we really need this part, but. Another idea would be that we don't end up exceeding 55 plus benefits for this. Or we can not worry about that right now. We got a starting point on the bottom end.
I think that's about all we can do until we get the letter sent out, the interview process, reading some of this. I think the top end, might be up to them, might be up to the candidates. If they're that qualified, there can be more, but like I said, we needed a place to start.
Okay, I can agree with that train of thought. So before I just run a motion that we proceed in this direction, not a mandate, is there do we need to think about anything else where you're just talking cash and not benefits? Or not?
Well, the benefits too is going to be based on the individual, right? Like if they're already getting them,
Right, so
there's something, another means.
yeah, if you assume at the least the benefit package is probably worth 18, so 35 and 18.
We're talking about health benefits, we're talking about vacation days, we're talking about all this stuff, and it could be near that $20,000 mark, so.
You're right. So either way, we can be flexible if we get the right candidate. As long as we all understand it's a combination of money and benefit package, and it might be different for any of the candidates that we select to come in for an interview. Okay. Any other discussion for the board? And I'll try and make a motion that isn't binding. That's a starting point, like you said. Okay, so the board would consider that a wage and benefit package, or a wage of $35,000 plus a benefit package for 30 hours of work would be appropriate as a starting point for the hiring of a full-time fire chief. Do we have a second on that?
I'll say.
Okay, any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, this is a money issue, even though it's not binding. So we probably should do a roll call just to give everybody a chance to speak their piece.
Okay, Steve Detmer.
I think it's a waste of time, but I'll say yes.
Supervisor Bertrand.
Yes.
Clerk Pern, yes. Treasurer Hunt.
Yes.
Okay. So that passes forward to the not binding.
I'd like to get these guys in here after, tomorrow's the last day. We need to do a meeting with all the applicants, set up times and try and knock them out in one day
All right.
for interviews.
That is certainly an idea. I'm going to tell you what, I had already gone down the road a little bit here. We need to, as a board, according to the attorney, and this makes solid sense to me, we need to weed down the applicants so that you don't have a final decision based on 3 or 4 people. So we need to weed it down. If we get this additional written information, my plan, be it approved or not, we have a work session next week. If we get the additional information in writing from these people, we can select who we would like to interview at that work session. You do not have to interview everybody. We can select who we would like to. Then that could puts it at an interview process right then, and then a week later, we have a board meeting. And at the board meeting, it's being suggested, and I don't know that you think about this without having a complete cluster. You have two people that you selected come in, and we do an additional interview at that point. What was suggested is you can pick two people from the applicants, bring them in at the board meeting by the time we get to the board meeting, and have further interview process. It has to be in a public meeting. All of the interview process has to be in a public meeting. But the protocol is that if there are two potential candidates here, one of them leaves while we interview the first one. And then the other one leaves while we interview the second one, just as a matter of protocol to not have any conflict. So at the board meeting, if we did a final interview between two people, we could then vote and have hired our full-time fire chief at that board meeting.
So I've read every one of these. I haven't gotten through the latest one that came in today. How are you gonna weed these, how are you gonna weed it out down to two?
Just like I said, if we all have asked for written input, we all as board members need to look at that written input and figure out if we have people we would like to continue, as individuals, if we have people that we would like to consider in an interview process.
I'd like to consider all of them. I
certainly-
find it fascinating, they're all got a little bit of different
There's
backgrounds, and I'd like to interview each and every one of them and ask them questions, and then maybe decide, okay. I mean, because my opinion, without actually sitting down and talking to somebody,
How do you weed them out? You know, without having,
after we interview them,
that's better.
yeah. And
Don't
then we can say, okay, he didn't answer questions like I wanted. Like, I don't want to weed them out before we even talk to all of them.
No,
There's only 5, so it's not a.
I'm okay with all of that as long as I have their written plan in my hand. I do not want to have somebody explain to me vocally what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's a good idea to get the written plan. I like that, but I don't like taking 5 people and dumping 3 of them because we didn't like them. No.
Okay, so if
We
we
already passed a motion that said that we're going to get a written thing from
Right.
each one of them.
and if that's in hand at the point we're actually talking to them face to face, that's what I would like. So we got that. I don't have a problem doing all 5. It's a matter of we have a work session scheduled. We could extend the work session. We could try and shoot for a special meeting to do it. But I do believe that protocol is probably, if we can follow it, would be to interview them one at a time, without the other people being in the room.
Oh, I
Now,
agree with that.
So we could do a meeting where the public is there and we interview them one at a time. But I think if you got everybody sitting in there, I'm not sure that's a good way to do it.
No, I don't think
No,
it
we
is
don't want
either.
everybody there.
So would you prefer we tried to do that within the work session or extend the work session?
No, we'd be here for hours,
Right.
Well,
hours and hours and hours.
So okay, that
'Cause our
means,
work sessions are 2 hours.
okay.
This is gonna take probably at least,
well, let's just say we took 15 minutes a candidate. That's another hour and a quarter out of the 2 hours. So that's 3.5 almost.
so if we do it, so 12 to, I guess we could try and do it after,
And, actually, the agenda's not made. I could cut the agenda down to where the majority of it is the interview process.
Hmm.
I'm good with
It's
that.
either we do it then or we
Yeah.
have to call a special
let's
meeting.
do it, yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Do something with the work session to make it a
After the
short
work
agenda.
session.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Okay,
We'll interview them after the work session, that's good, let's do that.
so if we send a letter, we've already decided we'd send a letter and ask them for additional information. As long as we include, if for some reason you can't make it to this meeting, you let us know and maybe we can make a different accommodation. But that keeps it from proclaiming a special meeting to do just that.
Mm-hmm.
And the letter should say, the letter should be received by a certain date.
Oh, yes, let's
Gotta
make
go out right
it,
away.
Tuesday.
Well, we need to get it back, but we need to send
That's
it
what I'm
out like
talking about.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll go out tomorrow. Okay.
Who's gonna do the letter, the clerk's office?
Probably.
I was thinking treasurer's office.
No, it's above my purview.
Okay, I will make a motion that we invite the candidates to the work session for interviews. Do I have a second?
Yep. I'll second it, but just to open up the discussion.
Yep.
I think that we should, rather than make a candidate sit out in the parking lot for 2 hours or an hour and a
I
half
know,
or
that's part I
whatever,
haven't figured
give
out.
them
how we
each
do that.
a time that they're going to be here.
Oh, yeah.
For your interview is going to be at such and such a time, and then you can run them through in an orderly process, and they don't have to sit out in the parking lot swatting mosquitoes for
That
2
makes
hours.
sense as well.
For now, not so much, but if you're talking about when their candidates are here, the public could be here for all of them. No, our legal advice was that the board needs to do this, and I've seen other people do it with 2 people from the board do it. I'm not interested.
Then you get conflicting, like,
I'm just saying it's for the ease of processing it through.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, but I'd like to try and keep this at the board level and we can make some decisions here and live with it. There has been no discussion of trying to select a committee of 2 board members to do the interviews. That's not in our purview right now. So the motion is on the floor then, let me restate that we notify the candidates that there would be a select time for them to come in during the work session. Is that kind of where you were going? Okay. So just on that by itself, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so any further discussion on invite them to the work session, and we'd have to have a time schedule with that.
Yeah, a little more discussion on that. We could, if we start the agenda, let's say our work sessions start at 12:30, we could go maybe 45 minutes, something like that, get through it and then schedule that first one, then a second one. If you need to finish the agenda, okay, but,
As long as we don't start early,
no.
we can do whatever we want there.
It's in writing.
we also gotta consider, some of these guys might be
Oh, they might
be
work.
working, so.
You're right.
Well, but it would have to include, if you can't do this, you got to let us know right away and we'll try and set something else
Yeah.
up. We'd hope that they could. Okay, still, so any more discussion then on sending the applicants a letter? Actually, it's all going to be one letter. Give us your plan if you have not already,
Mhm.
and attend our work session next week, Wednesday, at a set time for an interview.
Mhm.
Okay, so I believe we still have a second.
Mhm.
Any other further discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none. So on a motion to invite the candidates in for an interview during our work session next Wednesday and set a time frame for it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Okay, that motion carries. We'll take a breath here. We've gone through the position expectations we're covering in the letter of what they would tell us they can do for us. We've gone through potential wage and benefit packages. I'm okay, there's probably more, but I'm okay with this right now because this moves us forward to the work session
What we're trying to
without
do.
calling a special meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we might not have to before this is over, but, I'm good with that. If anybody else has got anything, in relation to those two things, bring it up now and maybe we can figure something else out from the board anyway.
Oh, let's move on to some public comments.
Well, let me back up just to make sure. So what we passed, we have one motion, two motions, three, and how many motions we got there?
I've only got 3.
Okay,
Well, you made that first one too, though. You made that 2 motions.
so the one that actually is saying, give us your plan if you haven't already,
Yes, and then.
and being in the letter
At
and,
least two former bosses, and that was
right,
2
and
different.
then the same letter would end up saying we can do the interview process.
Yeah,
Okay, that'll work.
The 3530.
and then the 30-35, that's the other one, so we had.
Yeah, and that's for us. We're
Yeah.
not gonna let,
Yeah.
No, I'm good with that. What else we got, guys? If not, we can certainly go with public comment. Before I do that. That is not gonna matter.
That people wanted to comment.
Yep, I'm saying before I open that up, I want to make sure I covered the bases I had, that I brought to the meeting. We're legit, it was posted 2 weeks. Nothing else I got for today.
Good.
So, shall we open it up to public comment? Cindy, don't hurt your shoulder holding your arm up. You got pickleball to play.
Maybe she has to go to the bathroom.
I am recognizing you, and if you turn that mic on.
Not showing my.
Turn that, yeah,
Her weight gain.
turn the mic up.
Like that?
As long as it's green, we're good.
All right, my name is Cindy Pop, I'm a resident, Lyon Township, and background, so by proxy, I'm a fire expert because I put in police and fire 911, City of Detroit, back in '95. I am personal friends with 2 retired chiefs, but more so, I've been involved in executive search committees for hiring folks, and I have some input that could help in this process. So here's some things from a HR quicksand thing. I think you guys got to level out so we don't expose ourselves to anything about this hiring process and decision. So you put an ad in the paper. Did you list minimum qualifications in order to apply? Or was it loose and say, if you're interested, just throw your hat in the ring? So if you put in, I don't know if you guys can answer me if this is a one-way.
No, I actually have it.
So did you say what you were
Responsible-
looking for?
We were looking for, as accepting applications for full-time fire chief, responsible for overseeing all EMS and fire services. Proper accreditation from the state of Michigan is required, along with a background check, salary and benefits to be negotiated upon hire. Please submit, blah, 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 equal opportunity employer.
Okay, so when you said proper certifications, is there something for the leadership? A chief leadership has to have EMT, Officer 1, Officer 2? I don't know.
No,
I'm
it's open. When I checked, and Lord knows I checked, people said, you got a fire chief who's not qualified. Said, well, they're on a 3-year track to get additional certification. whatever, I thought, that's a little weird. Then I found out that's a thing. Many townships have fire department chiefs who are not, and I don't want to say fully qualified because it's like, what do you got? And if that's what it is, that's what it is. And then maybe additional certification. There's
So
all-
we're not
all
hard
that-
and fast on that?
Well, all this ad is saying is come in and tell us what you got.
Okay, because from an interviewing panel, this type of executive search, a lot of people hire consultants to do the spewing for you. If you all aren't, experts in HR and questioning and stuff, it's a little wonky. My recommendation would be you have a panel interview that consists of, before your working session probably, get an independent panel's opinion on here's your number one, number two, number three candidate, and listen to their input. And their input would be someone who's walked the walk, possibly a retired Lyon Township fire chief, someone who is an HR type of person that understands interviewing questions. The one thing I'm hearing you guys say today is you want their plan, but you made it pretty nebulous, and some already submitted it. That really has to be evened out, and what you have to say is, give me your 1, 2, 3, 5-year plan. Tell me your SMART goals. Everyone know what a SMART goal is? Systematic, measurable, achievable. Like, you have to, give them more structure of what you're looking for. Otherwise, you're going to get all kinds of, here's somebody's plan, and it could be Pollyann and unachievable. But we really got to be smart about that everyone's given the same framework of which to reply in.
Thank you. Similar to the Forest Service, the application is actually, or the resume is actually part of an application. So this premise is, you tell us what you can do, and then we'll gauge it. And you're right, but we're not Detroit.
Oh, I
And
know.
we need to get this process done.
I think, is it an at-will employee, or are you giving them a contract? Somebody had said a 3-month maybe thing and look at salary after that.
Well, see, we're not here to get into those details today. This
Well,
was
just
just
leave it
about,
open and then let the
Basically,
lawsuits pile
all
up
employees
because we
are at
didn't
will.
frame it right.
I have asked, everything that we're doing, I've run through our municipal law firm attorney. And it is not, like I said, you can't say a fire chief doesn't have this and this and this, because there's lots of places they don't.
But what do we aspire to for Lyon Township?
The best
We're
person
saying-
they can
So
possibly
if it's
get.
my kid and the house is on fire and it's my grandchild in the second story, do I want the most qualified person responding to that and say, or are we just going to say, you have 2 more years to get your certifications together? I mean, let's get the best candidate we can, whoever that may be.
It is my intention to do exactly that, but that's not my intention to go outside for a separate committee to give us suggestions. We already have the resumes. I think we can make an informed decision by consulting with our attorney. You're right.
I would
But-
hope there should be
There's a lot of rights.
one
out
Joe
there.
citizen, certainly 1 or 2 board members. There's got one that's got a lot of experience, someone who's walked this walk before in that capacity. And,
It's going to
keep it-
happen the way it
Keep it
is.
transparent. All
It's-
right, I'm done
Well, no,
spousing.
that's okay. I mean, the plan is forward. If somebody wants to do something different, they always can make a motion to do something different.
Thank you for your input.
You're welcome. So the math is, I did the math, it's $35 an hour at the high end, at 30 hours?
No, 35,000
No, do
plus
the math
benefits.
though. You take $35,000 divided by what 30 hours a week turns out to be. It's $35 an hour at 55,000, and it's $22 an hour at $35,000. That's not very much for someone who are asking for a lot of certificates.
Well, you've got to remember, we have a budget. We just can't hand out money. I mean,
No, you're
You know.
absolutely right, and that's why it's a starting point, and depending on who applies and how the interviews go. Anyway, thank you. Who else would like to speak? You look familiar.
Bill Cleves, Lyon Township. You have to remember, this is a paid-on-call department. It's a completely different animal. Is your new guy gonna be able to do runs plus his salary?
Sure, why not?
Well, they're going to explain to us what they can do or what offer for us.
The problem I had putting in grants for the federal government was too much of our budget went to salary because of the size of our department and the minimum amount of runs that we make. So I can't see that change until we either get 1,000 runs a year.
We probably would be close if we didn't miss so many, to be honest with you.
Even counting them, though,
I mean, we miss a lot due to, not having people, but
I know, that's a big,
it's
Well, we have millages coming up.
yeah,
That's certainly a consideration.
next year.
This is, of all of our jobs here, it waxes and wanes on who thinks they're right at any particular time. To me, this job is something that takes this township into the future. And if the right person walks in the door, I'm going to suggest we give them what it takes to get them in here
when's the application period over?
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Close of business.
Where's this salary coming from? Out of the fire budget or out of the general fund?
Fire.
Fire, there's a fire equipment and a fire.
Operating.
Operating, yes.
Yeah.
I already know there's a lot of money in that.
I know that too.
Again, I don't
Actually,
have a problem with a highly qualified person getting a lot of money. We've talked about this. We're not firefighters. We should not be in a position where we're making decisions. We need to get somebody in there who's got a record of having done it, a good record with recommendations. And then here you go. You report to the board once a month,
absolutely.
just like ordinance officer.
Yep.
We're not going to interfere. Now, if things go wrong, then we'll talk to you. But we're not going to come and tell you how to do your job.
Monthly reports is gonna be a big issue. I don't even know if we've got any in the last year. I don't see
We
them,
got a
so.
few, but there's a lot of things.
But that's
that-
gonna be part of the chief's job, getting the reports done,
Right. There's a ton of record keeping.
Yeah.
As you may know, because
Yeah,
we're the
absolutely.
biggest liabilities of the township.
Mhm.
And our risk carriers do like to see them certificates. Absolutely.
I do. I was in when they did the last assessment here and, I don't even want to get into that. They sell that information to insurance companies.
Right.
The whole premise of all that affects, yes, it does. To what degree? Not to the great degree that actually, Kevin and I have talked, what the real issue is if you don't have forced water mains to hook up to. That knocks you down
Oh,
considerably.
yeah. I got our ISO lowered, but it's, it's coming up to where we should do it again.
We just did it and I'm waiting to get the results.
Cool.
yeah, we get dinged.
But
Because
having a
of
bad ISO
Those
rating,
hydrants.
yeah, it's not necessarily because the department sucks. There's a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely. I went through 3 of them
Yeah.
and they're pretty intense.
Yeah, I was there.
A lot of it's beyond the township's control. I mean, it's just,
I mean, and
We're
that's pretty
rural.
good wages, I think. Your starting wage is a pretty good wage for this township.
yeah, I think so.
If we're in the ballpark, yeah,
But, I mean, that should be one of the criteria is he's an EMT and he's gonna run the medical, I think.
it's all going to depend on what the individual presents to us as a package of what they can do for
Okay.
us.
Sounds
In
good.
writing,
Sounds good.
in writing, not,
Thank you.
I don't want to be looking at an interview tape 3 months from now.
I didn't say that.
You told me. Any other public comment? Come on up, sir.
Alan Bodett, Beaver Creek Township. I'm not going to use this meeting as any anything other than what it is, make public comment. The hours that you described as a fire chief are less than adequate for what a fire chief's responsibility is, and these two gentlemen back here can attest to that. It is a 24/7 operation. It doesn't matter if you're the chief, assistant chief, or whatever, when we have a staff of 6, which we have now. Staff of 6. Okay. We don't have enough bodies for every truck that we have in the department currently. All right. We have 2 people on the staff right now that are medically trained that refuse to respond to medical calls. So that leaves it to 3 of us. 2 of which have jobs outside here, as well as myself. I have a job outside of here, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to respond to those, but my hands are tied at this point to respond, which means that ambulance won't roll. You won't see that ambulance roll. It can't roll. Legally, can't roll with just me in it. The job is a 24/7 job, as well as the fact that it comes with responsibilities that not many of us, with the exception of these 2 gentlemen here, can fully understand. It's a matter of life safety, the responsibility, as well as pancake breakfasts and at the, bringing a rig to the concerts and things of that nature. Unfortunately, in northern Michigan, I think the fire service is looked at as a joke in some aspects because everybody's in the fire service. However, it shouldn't be that way. It's a responsibility. It's a great responsibility that a lot of people don't understand. The state of Michigan supports us, but doesn't support us well enough, in my opinion, in that there are chiefs around here that don't have the basic requirements that the state wants people to have. And that just gets by. You are allowed 36 months to achieve those points. Some of them do, some of them don't. It is a process, both on the medical side now and the fire side. We are required to maintain our continuing education. All of that requires time, and in some places it requires money. A department should be there to support those people that want to continue to better themselves. And I'm not saying Lion hasn't been there for me. The biggest thing is this isn't a 30-hour job. It isn't a 40-hour job. It isn't an 80-hour job. It's an around-the-clock job. And for Lion Fire right now, it's all hands on deck, regardless of who's at the top. However, it falls uphill in the fire service. So we have to remember that going in, that the person that's going to be coming into this position, regardless of who it is assuming that responsibility. And with that responsibility should come the backing from this board, which I would hope that they would. Lion Fire is not in the best of positions right now because we've essentially tapped all of our available resources here. There's talk that we can bring in people if we offer shifts. I'm not necessarily of that mindset because when do you stop those shifts? Are they an 8-hour shift? Are they a 12-hour shift? Are they a 24-hour shift? Our call volume at this point really doesn't justify it. Having working at a partner department to this, with a call volume that is at 206 as of today, June 3rd, 4th, whatever it is, and Lion's call volume being at 85, there's the big disparity there.
Do you have all this in your resume?
No, I don't have it in my resume because I don't think it was naturally part of my resume.
No, okay, because
My
I don't want to drift into an interview.
No, it's not an interview. It's this, I'm giving you facts.
When you say it's a 24/7 job, obviously, everybody knows that. When it comes to the hours.
Yep.
Those hours are more or less where you're doing paperwork, whatnot. It's not.
The paperwork gets worse by the day.
It's not to say, okay, I'm going to work my 30 hours and I'm out.
No,
We know that.
no, because this
So when
doesn't
you
allow-
say 24/7.
This doesn't allow that to happen.
Right.
That item right there
When you
doesn't allow that.
But when you say 30 hours isn't enough, I believe it is enough for paperwork and
If you had
what.
help, if you had help around there, then it does take away from it.
And that is going to be the chief's
And
decision
that's
to
going to be the
make.
chief's decision.
Yes.
However, we have, everybody on our department currently has jobs outside that. It is a paid on-call department.
Okay, and we're gonna get there in the interview process.
It's one of those things where, just for instance, we do ladder testing, hose testing, we do breathing air testing, we do
I
SCBA
get it.
testing, all of which has paperwork associated with it and
Okay,
has
you're
parts
drifting
in there.
into an interview here and I'm
I'm
not
giving
going
you
there.
facts about Lion
Okay,
Fire.
I'll give you 30
Facts-
seconds and wrap it
Facts about
up.
Lion Fire. The person that was in charge there did the best job that he could, I feel. And as far as the department goes right now, we're in pretty good shape. However, that's gonna slowly go downhill the longer we're leaderless.
That's why
That's
we're
why-
doing what
Okay.
we're doing.
I hope you guys can come to an agreement on how we can, regardless of who this is, because it's not going to get better. It's only gonna get worse. Our mutual aid contracts with our fire side of things will help us in the interim. We don't, however, have a
Okay.
mutual aid contract with EMS.
You gotta wrap it up.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, sir.
thank you.
It is my understanding, we have a mutual aid contract. Christie was in, okay, but let me explain something. Our primary is Houghton Lake Ambulance Authority. Last week, one of our ordinance officers' neighbor had a heart attack or something. They got here in 20 minutes. I believe that that's adequate as a primary, but I don't want to get, what I want to make sure, if from my position is, nothing has really changed in the last couple of years as far as our agreement with them. The mutual aid agreement, we have, it is not like we're hanging out in a breeze here, pretty much where we've always been. But I appreciate your comments on it, and when we get to the interview, if there's, nail them down specifically.
Mutual aid agreement on the fire side is different from the EMS.
Okay, I hear different things, so bring it to the interview, and that's where we'll do it. Okay, any other public comments? Sure, Amy.
Because, you know, I'm not.
You are one of the best researchers I know, so.
Well, this time around.
You're not
I
wasting our
skipped the
time.
research. I emailed back and forth with Bern a couple times but that's why I'm here today. Cause I'm like, oh, just go directly to the source here myself. Anyways, just two things. When you say I mean, I know our chief has like paperwork, those kind of responsibilities. So as part of the requirement, or part of the expectation, maybe not requirement, from our board going to be like that, raising that community awareness to get the recruits. I mean, like for our community events, pancake breakfast, I'm going to use that as an example because I didn't even know that was coming up. I didn't realize that was run by volunteers until I seen that it was canceled. So is that something that you guys are going to expect? I would assume that would be a chief responsibility, and I could be assuming
Yes.
completely wrong.
I
I
can tell you that
just
that's,
asking for clarification because I'm trying to understand how our department works
Well,
as just a normal resident here.
I'll give you my perspective. I want everything that fire department does. I want them to basically to do what they need to do. And then if they need our help, obviously we'll help them. But I want to be hands off of everything with the fire department. Me personally, I want the chief to run it, whoever his lieutenants, whatever, the captains, whatever. I want to be hands off unless you say, hey, we need the board's help on this. Not a problem. But I don't want to be making decisions for fire departments that I know nothing about. That's just me.
Right.
I know that in at least, let me rephrase that. I am certainly aware that one of the things I would want is that somebody to convince me that they can step up their presence in the community as a fire department and tell me how they're going to do that and when they're going to do it.
Yeah, and that was part of that,
That would be,
with my community
if I,
involvement question.
if I vote for you as a fire chief, you're going to have to explain how you're going to do all of that.
Yeah, because we had they do the touch of trucks, they do parades, they have Fireman's Memorial, we do our
We do a
pancake
lot of things,
breakfast.
and there's a lot of things we don't.
But there's no community awareness or even our concerts or stuff I mean, my understanding is they don't get
We
paid
need the
for
leader.
our
We
community
need a
stuff,
leader to
right?
do.
But
I
so
have
would that be
also-
part of their 30 hours to have to incorporate that, where they're getting that community stuff involved in there?
Well, first of all, it is not dictated 30 hours.
Well, I know, that was just a number.
You know, short of going into the applications, I have seen plans that included how to start community groups within the fire department, taken in directions we have not gone.
Okay, and then I have another question on something you guys already passed for your thing. I was just curious what made you stick with the previous bosses? I mean, I don't know who your candidates are to know like how many of them work. I know some of them that are working. Most of our fire department has separate jobs. So why didn't you guys consider going through or allowing the resume from the current bosses? Because, you know, as time
Never said no.
changes.
Who's
Oh,
the
well,
current
your
one?
thing says previous boss, so I didn't
No,
know
we
if that
open-
included like whoever they're
No.
working for now as a current one or
Who's,
not.
No, we opened up that job.
you mean JC?
No, for your interview process where you want the two recommendations from the
Oh,
bosses.
okay. My
I
bad.
just, because you guys stipulated two previous bosses.
What are you- Oh,
But I was
and letter
curious
of
because some of them that are
recommendation?
still working, like,
You're talking letter of recommendation?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, recommendation, sorry.
Two previous bosses.
But would that include like their current bosses for the
Well,
ones that are
certainly
working?
could be a
And
current.
I
be,
only
yeah.
ask because I've worked a lot of jobs over the years. I've had great bosses. I've had some bosses that I could work with, you know, like you guys were explaining earlier, right?
You're not kidding.
Absolutely.
But people change who they are over time.
Sure.
So, you know, if somebody's been in the same career for
Yeah.
5-10 years and the other boss was 10-15 years ago,
Yeah.
that's not who they are today. So their current boss would know who they are today.
Sure.
That was my
To
only
clarify
reason
just
for
a little, Amy, I
clarifying
think
previous
they're
boss
applying for
versus
a different position. So their current boss is a former boss when you're talking about.
Okay,
this.
that's what I was
Definitely.
looking for, that clarification.
Definitely.
on that. All right, that's all I had.
Thank you, dear. So is Sam all geared up to be the new man now? No? Really? Okay. Well, he's an outstanding young man. Okay, any other public comments for today? Okay, hearing none.
Hmm.
I would entertain a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning the meeting at
112.
1:12 signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
And opposed, the same. Okay, motion carries 4-0. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the comments. We will get through this to the other side.
Put your gavel away.
Should do this.